Oh, salt,
So not
it's
white.
not white,
Not
so the
white.
gray salter.
So it can be
Or sea salt.
right. Sea salt as long as it's not white. So Celtic sea salt, Himalayan, Hawaiian. We use a brand called Real Salt that looks like sand with specks in it.
Okay.
I've chosen that one because it's mined in Utah, and I don't think we're polluting as much 200 feet down in prehistoric seabed as we pollute the ocean today.
Right. What's that called? You went in.
Real Salt was the brand of that.
And is it in Publix, or you have to order online?
You can get it online. We've kept it for years here, and my wife said she's seen it in Target before.
Okay.
Oh, it's here. Okay.
So yeah, we've kept it for a long time. Fresh and frozen, free range and organic. This is a general pattern of eating it. Before we go into that, I'm going to break out more over here. So, exaggerated. If we took in 1,000 calories of a starch, quick blood sugar rise, quick blood sugar drop. 1,000 calories protein and fat, slow rise, slow drop. Mixed meal, somewhere in between. I'm sure I'm not the scale, trying to represent the same energy, but the effect over time is totally different. This is the mechanism that regulates that we talked about earlier. So if we're trying to take control, we said physical stressors and emotional stressors and glycemic stressors. Glycemic stressor, I believe, is the only one we can control. And so our goal is to go to 3 meals with general and controlled rates of change, initially with snacks in between. And if someone is re-waking at night routinely without outside stimulation, initially we'd even do a snack before bed that drops off very slowly. We want to level out fuel throughout the day without rise and fall, because the faster it rises, the more insulin release, the faster it drops, the more cortisol we demand. So we're looking at this range, and we're trying to get in and stay in our demand range preventively by food choice and timing. That's how we control that stressor. That's how we turn off insulin. That's how we turn off type 2 diabetes, which is fully reversible as long as the cells are still producing some insulin.
And we don't know that with me.
We do know,
Oh.
because you're not taking insulin.
Oh, okay. Should I take more metformin? I'm seeing my family doctor tomorrow, and she'll probably recommend that if you're saying my
I would say
hemoglobin.
that you should be able to get to the point you don't need any metformin at all if you're making some changes.
Right. But if I'm on 1,000 milligrams right now, and she wants to move me to 1,500.
It's just a drug causing some liver damage that is trying to manage the symptom of higher insulin. So
Okay.
that's a call for you to make. I'm not going to say one way or the other.
Right.
Our goal with people is to let's get to the point we don't need it at all.
So right, but how quick?
How
Like,
quick
do
can
I?
you get there?
Yeah, like if I start this.
If you started this, you could have shifts in your blood sugars within a matter of a week or two.
Okay. So I don't need to start the metformin. It's not a health crisis.
It's not a health crisis, no.
Okay.
Not if you want to make that change. Now,
Right.
if you want to make a change, you can make that change very
Yeah.
quickly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Because the only thing that's driving the problem, the only thing that's driving blood sugars, is that you're overdriving carbohydrates in forms your body can't process well.
Mm-hmm. So no more bread.
So if you shift more calories over to fats, which don't require insulin at all,
Mm-hmm.
and are not being converted into glucose at all, they're being burned as fats.
Mm-hmm.
We don't need the insulin. We're turning all that down.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So this is that very general model, some protein every meal. So we would do eggs and fruit in the morning or something along that line, or butter and coffee, or butter and eggs and a little banana and a smoothie and whatever. So I'm not trying to be just funny there, but we're trying
Yeah.
to feed the body with what it needs. If we're really trying to get control, then eggs and a little fruit. This morning we had eggs. We had a treat. We put a little mozzarella in the eggs, and we had some fresh cantaloupe. That's what we had at the house today.
So cheese is a.
Cheese is not necessary. Dairy is not ideal. We'll talk about it, but I'll look at it as a treat. It's not a problem from a standpoint of the insulin thing necessarily, but it may be because of cross-reactive immune response. We'll talk about that in a second. Initially, if we need, because if we're making the transition, you don't want to be hungry. If you're feeling hungry, that's because this battle. That's because blood sugar's dropping too quick. And so I want to get ahead of that initially. I want to have snacks in between. I don't want to let you get hungry.
Like protein snacks.
Well,
Or
snacks in
nuts,
between,
or
like
fruit.
nuts or something
Okay.
like that in between. Anything up here is fair game, but just something to keep fuel higher so you're not dropping at that point.
Okay.
Once things are leveled out and settled down, if you're getting more calories from fat and decent from protein, then you're not going to be hungry anyway. That carries through.
Mhm.
You're not getting this drop. But if you're starting off and you're feeling hungry, that just means this battle's still going on, and your brain is still screaming, "Feed me, I'm going to die."
Is there a trail mix you recommend? A lot of the trail mixes have peanuts, so that's why I just.
Right. I would just mix your own.
Sure.
Yeah. So I used to keep a bag back here in the drawer. I've been moving more fat, so I don't even do that anymore. But I used to just mix pecans and almonds and cashews and dried cherries in a Ziploc, and I can just reach back and grab a handful.
So dried fruits are okay as well.
Yeah, dried fruits are not evil. I'm trying to have at least 3 to 1 from the nuts to fruits relationship there. But
Okay.
and if you need a snack before bed, it needs to be protein and fat. So that could be a boiled egg or a leftover chicken leg or a handful of walnuts or a pat of butter. For all I care.
Well, the cashews, do they?
Should be fine.
Should be fine.
So like a handful of cashews is protein and fat?
Mhm.
Okay.
You know, just figuring out what works well for you is kind of the thing there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, from this general standpoint, these things are not food, but that's 75% of calories in a standard American diet. And we're going to kind of modify as we go. But you got there a while ago. Grains as a class require more insulin than any other food.
Mm-hmm.
That's the reason for insulin resistance. That's the reason for diabetes, is that we went from the government prior to World War II saying less wheat to after World War II saying 8 to 11 servings of grains per day, because someone in the think tank said if we subsidize wheat and corn farmers and make people buy that stuff, we're going to build the economy back. So we've driven to something that never existed before, and the grains we have today in this country didn't exist before the 1960s. They've been bred for a different purpose. White potatoes are not evil. They just raise blood sugar. A baked potato raises blood sugar faster than eating sugar out of the bowl. So we're trying to take some burden away. We still do white potatoes occasionally, but it's a treat. It's not a standard with everything.
What about red skinned potatoes?
If it has white meat, it is rapid rise. Right.
Okay.
So yellow potatoes, gold potatoes, is that just
Well,
cheating?
That's just cheating. Yeah.
Okay.
Sweet potato is a different kind of. It's a different family. It has the fiber intertwined. It has, it is actually sweeter, but it has more fiber binding within the starches, and so it's slower to change blood sugars. So I don't think that any of that is evil. It's just that we're overdriving, and so we're trying to think of those as treats.
Mm-hmm.
Beans and peas are not evil, but they are mostly starch, and we knew as kids when on the second grade you made jokes on the playground about gas, so
Yeah.
we didn't digest them well, and they're mostly starch. We're still driving this. You
Yes.
never do soy. Interferes with thyroid.
I'm allergic anyway.
Dairy is not evil. Cultures that don't have grains in dairy don't have bone loss with aging. Dairy induces bone loss over time.
Hmm.
It's one of the things that causes the body to be systemically acidic, and we have to pull calcium out of bone and pee that out to correct the pH. My
So-
concern is,
Sorry, I forgot about, you said I have low calcium. What do I do? Should I
You
take a
had-
calcium supplement?
you had high calcium.
Yeah, in your blood. That means you're peeing it out. You're stealing calcium from your
You're
bones.
stealing out of your calcium was elevated. You're stealing out of the bone
Oh,
in
but-
order to correct the pH problem.
oh, okay.
Doesn't that
So how
infer
do
that
I-
our bones
How
are
do you change
deficient?
that?
Yeah,
You
but,
change your eating and it goes away. It settles itself down.
Okay.
Now, you can rebuild bone at any age. See, I've seen women in their 80s, bone density going up.
Hmm.
Bone is living tissue. It's always being remodeled,
Okay.
but our culture drives it down. Bone loss with aging does not exist in primitive cultures,
Okay.
only where there's Western diets. Okay.
Okay.
So the more dairy we have, the more burden we put in there. It's not that dairy is evil. We treat some cheeses as treats, like this morning, put a little bit of mozzarella in. And we look at that a little bit by blood type. There are some predictable issues about lectin incompatibilities by blood type. My concern, though, is that if you have diabetes, which is an autoimmune process that is genetically linked to gluten, that many people who have gluten issues have a cross-reactive response with casein, the dairy protein. So it may be an activator
My
for the
son's
immunity.
allergic to
Mhm.
casein. Well, he's allergic to milk, and so we have to avoid anything with casein. So is that a genetic?
There's a genetic predisposition for that, yeah. Not an absolute. Genetic predispositions don't have to be expressed necessarily, so there may not be an absolute thing there. Anything in a package is not food. If it has an ingredient list, it's not food. We talked about flavor enhancers earlier that drive